Caleb's parents recently realized that their son was acting strange when going to school. He never wanted anyone to touch his backpack. At first, his parents didn't think much of it, but one day Caleb's father noticed that his son's backpack was extremely full. He had no idea what Caleb was carrying with him, so he decided to take a look. When opening the bag, he saw a lot of diapers. He was confused. What was his son hiding from them? Both Noah and his wife Jessica let Caleb do his thing for a while, but he grew even more secretive about what he was doing. It reached a boiling point when he went to Jessica for more money. This was too much for Noah. He decided to get to the bottom of what his son was doing. He immediately jumped in his car the next day and drove to school before Caleb arrived at the bus. He was so early that the school wasn't even open yet, so he waited for a couple of minutes. Then he saw one of Caleb's teachers and decided to confront her. She was shocked. Caleb's teacher was very cooperative and was willing to tell Noah everything about his son. She couldn't quite give him the answers he was looking for. She never noticed Caleb's bag or that he was hiding something. There was something else though. For the last couple of weeks, Caleb had been late for class almost every single day. This couldn't be a coincidence. From the moment Caleb started to act suspicious, he also started to act weird at school, and this had to be connected. Noah went to the principal to try to make sense of the situation. He asked him to confirm what his teacher was already telling him about Caleb. The principal actually knew Caleb very well. He was one of the best students at the school until he started acting strange lately. The principal told Noah that his son was very quiet as of late. It was like he wasn't even present at school, that his mind was elsewhere. The only time that he showed some energy was when someone came close to his bag. There was even more that Noah didn't know about. Caleb was recently kicked out of one of his classes because he wasn't listening. The teacher felt bad for him, but he had to kick Caleb out to make an example. Noah had to ask Caleb's fellow students about the recent events. The principal called in a couple of Caleb's closest friends and fellow students. Noah was extremely interested in what they had to say about Caleb's behavior. Had they noticed something as well? And if so, did they have the answers? Caleb's friends told the exact same story as his teacher and the principal. Caleb had recently changed seemingly out of nowhere. Ever since the last holiday, Caleb wasn't the same anymore. Noah had no idea what this could have been, but all they said was something about his backpack. Caleb was very protective of his backpack. Even during the bus ride to school, he was sitting alone. He didn't want anyone to come close. Noah knew what was in the backpack, but for what purpose was Caleb constantly bringing diapers to school? Was there something more in there? Noah tried talking to his son when he came back home that day. He first looked at his son's backpack, which was carefully stashed away in his room. However, the bag was completely empty. This raised even more questions. What was he doing with them? Caleb straight up refused to talk to his parents. He didn't want to tell them anything about what he was doing. They thought he was ashamed of hiding something more than just the diapers. They did find stuffing in the diapers of his room. Maybe he was transporting something in them. Noah decided to follow his son to school the next day. At a safe distance, he parked his car in the morning just outside the bus stop. He had to know what Caleb was up to, only then could he confront him. This morning would get an enormous twist. Caleb did seem to take the bus. He had once again filled up his backpack from what it seemed. Noah kept following the bus and there was nothing out of the ordinary, but he saw that his son was once again sitting alone. Then something happened. At the last stop before school, Caleb gets off. Noah's completely confused about what his son did. Was he on to him? Noah quickly parked his car to track Caleb on foot, but this seemed to be a difficult task. Where was he going? After about 15 minutes of following his son, he completely lost track of where he was. He had to keep a safe distance not to get spotted, and that's when he lost him. Noah looked around for a couple of minutes, but there was no sign of Caleb. He had to intercept him at school. Noah quickly drove to school to see if he could intercept Caleb, but it didn't seem like Caleb was anywhere close to the school. Noah was waiting for quite a while and he almost gave up, but then he saw his son in the distance. Caleb was arriving after a whole hour had passed, and Noah was extremely confused. His son was too late for school and was up to no good. Where was he all that time? Noah now even had more questions. Then he saw something else about the backpack. When Caleb turned the corner, Noah saw that his son's backpack was completely empty. Where did all the diapers go? He had to have left them somewhere, and this couldn't be good. Maybe Caleb was involved in something illegal. He had to confront him now. Noah jumped out of the car and rushed over to Caleb. Caleb almost fell over when his dad approached him. He had no idea what his father was doing here. At first, he thought his dad surprised him, but things quickly turned from bad to worse. Noah pulled the bag out of Caleb's hands and opened it. It was completely empty. No drinks, food, money, or anything in it. Caleb also didn't seem like he carried any books with him. Caleb instantly started crying like he was caught, but he still didn't say anything. Because Noah was so concerned for his son's safety, he decided he wouldn't push Caleb. He told the principal he'd take him home, which the principal agreed to. Luckily, it was a day before the holiday, so Noah could keep an eye on his son, but this wasn't the end. Noah decided to talk to his wife Jessica about what to do with their son's situation. They both found it very difficult to come up with an idea to make Caleb talk. However, Jessica had an idea to figure out what Caleb was up to without him noticing. Jessica suggested putting a tracking device in Caleb's backpack. Noah was hesitant at first, but he wanted to know what his son was up to. He had to figure it out before it was too late. This couldn't wait any longer. For the rest of the holiday, Caleb locked himself into his room because he was grounded. He refused to come out during the day. It even got so bad that he didn't want to eat or shower. Caleb even tried to climb out of the window once but was caught by Jessica. Luckily, nothing else happened during the holiday, but Caleb at one point even stopped speaking to his parents. They had heard him in his room doing something with his backpack. They'd already put the tracker inside it, but did he find it? During the last couple of days of the holiday, Caleb acted quite normal. Noah didn't trust this. He had the feeling that his son was being deceptive. He tried acting really nice so that he might be able to go outside with his backpack, but he wasn't allowed to. When school started again, they couldn't keep Caleb inside any longer. They were hesitant to let their son go outside on his own, but they had to. Luckily, Caleb hadn't found the tracking device in his backpack. It was now or never. Caleb had stuffed his bag once again. This time it seemed like he packed even more in his backpack. It was crucial that they would get to the bottom of what he was doing today. They followed Caleb at a safe distance, and once again he got off at the same stop. On the tracking app, they see that he's walking for almost 30 minutes to a remote location. They're absolutely baffled by how far it is. They wonder what could be there. Both Noah and Jessica felt really uncomfortable. They see that he stops for around 10 minutes at one location, then walks back. This must be the place where he drops the diapers off. Noah told Jessica to wait for a couple of minutes to check out the area. They had to make sure Caleb was gone. When going to the location, Noah was completely in shock. They entered a very old and poor area of the city. Noah guessed when they walked a bit further. They were now in a really old trailer park, and Jessica felt very unsafe. It didn't make any sense to them. They'd never been to this part of the city. They'd explicitly forbidden Caleb from going here. There's a lot of criminal activity in the area, but they had to figure out what Caleb was doing. Noah went up to a couple of trailers. There were still people living in these old trailers. He knocked on a few doors and asked if they'd seen Caleb recently. Noah luckily carried a photo of his son with him. After a couple of trailers, he finally got the answer he was looking for. An old lady opened the door. When seeing the picture of Caleb, it seemed like she knew him, but she asked Noah first what his business was with the boy. She felt she might be set up and that Noah was a police officer, and she didn't trust with the information. Noah explained that he was looking for his son, and the old lady seemed to believe him. She told him Caleb always comes to the trailer park with a full backpack and leaves with an empty one. She doesn't know what he's doing, but he knows the trailer he always goes, so she directs Noah to that one. Noah and Jessica quickly walk over to the trailer Caleb always visits. Jessica felt her heart pounding in her chest, but she wanted answers right now. She didn't hesitate and knocked on the door, then someone opened it. A young woman opens the door. This is not exactly what Noah and Jessica were expecting. They had no idea who they had in front of them. They introduced themselves but were hesitant to mention Caleb at first. The woman was very quiet. She was really confused about why two people were in front of her trailer. Noah felt like she definitely had something to hide. They asked if she'd seen a young boy recently, but she closed the door. This isn't what Noah expected at all. The woman didn't seem keen to talk to them. People in this area almost trust no one, and again she probably thinks Noah and Jessica are undercover cops or something. But then Noah mentions he's the father of Caleb. When mentioning Caleb, something unexpected happens. The woman immediately opens the door again. She asks for proof that he's the father of Caleb. Luckily, Noah can convince the woman, and she now suddenly seems keen to help them. She instantly lets them in. Before closing the door, she looks around the trailer park if someone's watching. This gave both Jessica and Noah a strange feeling. Who is this woman? Noah now demanded answers. The woman asked if they wanted something to drink first, but Noah just wants to know what's happening here because he still has no idea. The woman sighed. She said that she had to come clean. She promised Caleb not to tell anyone, but she started talking. The woman, who until just a few weeks ago had been the school janitor, met Caleb there and they started talking. Although the woman's a bit older than Caleb, they instantly connected, not in a romantic way but just as friends. She told Caleb about her struggles. She told Noah and Jessica that she was a poor single mother. She had this child when she was only 18 and she couldn't fully care for her daughter because she had money problems. Caleb then promised to help her out. She was so embarrassed that she couldn't even afford diapers that she didn't want to tell anyone. Caleb promised not to tell, but he also promised to bring her enough diapers for the baby. He also spent the rest of his money on food for the baby. Noah sighed. Caleb was too shy to tell his parents that he was helping a stranger care for her baby, and that's why he was acting so mysterious. This was a huge relief for both Jessica and Noah. They thought their son was involved in something illegal. They invited the woman to live with them in their house. They also thanked Caleb for being such a good person. Caleb started acting normal again and got good grades at school again. Eventually, the woman found work as well and could provide decently for her child.